You're at church. Someone touches a box to stop it from falling, dead. Another guy lies about their Venmo donation, also dead. Meanwhile, someone in the back is just trying to figure out where the snacks are. Bible times were not chill. Okay, you're hauling the Ark of the Covenant, the literal golden box holding God's presence. The 10 Commandments are inside. There are angels sculpted on the lid. It's glowing. It's sacred. It's the one thing on earth you really don't want to mess with. And King David, he's throwing a parade. There's music, dancing, horns blaring, like it's Coachella for the spiritually elite. Everyone's vibing. But here's the twist. They're transporting the ark on a cart, not carried by priests like God literally instructed. No. They went with just strap it to the back of a couple of oxen and hope for the best method. Because what could go wrong? Well, the oxen trip. The cart tilts, the ark starts slipping. And Uzzah, a guy walking next to it, sees this happening. And being a responsible adult with functional reflexes, he reaches out to stop it from crashing. Boom. Dead. Instant divine smite. No warning, no timeout, just you touch the glory of God, delete system32.exe. Imagine watching your friend get Thanos snapped mid-good deed. The man wasn't looting the ark, he wasn't doing backflips off it. He wasn't tagging it with graffiti like, Uzzah was here. He was literally trying to prevent disaster. And God's response? Touch the box, meet the ground. David, the guy who planned this whole holy parade, absolutely panics. The party shuts down. Everyone's suddenly really quiet. Tambourines are dropped. Priests are fake checking their scrolls like, yep, said not to touch it. Whoops. So now they just leave the ark at some random dude's house. Obed-Edom, like it's cursed cargo in a horror movie. Hey man, mind babysitting this divine murder box for a bit? Cool, thanks. And plot twist, Obed-Edom's house starts getting wildly blessed, like divine jackpot levels of blessed. Suddenly his crops are thriving, his kids are nailing their Torah homework, and his goat learns to beatbox. Because apparently, if you don't mess with God's instructions, he shows up with blessing. But if you try to help him without permission, boom, one-touch kill. So David learns God's presence isn't IKEA furniture. You don't get to improvise the assembly instructions. Hard lesson, but hey, surely humanity learned from that, right? Right? Because fast forward to the early church, Acts chapter 5, people are still out here testing God's do not mess around energy. Meet Ananias and Sapphira, married, church members, seemingly normal. Big, we tithe, we serve, we love brunch energy. And the early church is in full-blown community mode. Everyone's selling property and giving the money to the apostles. Not because it's required, but because people are actually being generous. Wild times. So Ananias and Sapphira sell a piece of land. Nice, generous, except they keep part of the money for themselves. Also fine, but then, plot twist, they tell everyone, yeah, this is the full amount, every last coin. We are so holy. Which is where they messed up. Because lying to your church friends, embarrassing. But lying to God? Big mistake. Peter looks at Ananias like, bro, you realize God is literally listening, right? And boom, dude drops like a sack of unrighteous potatoes. No dramatic music, no time to fake faint, just full spiritual mic drop. 3 hours later, Sapphira walks in, unaware her husband's already been body bagged by the divine holy patrol, and Peter asks her the same question. She lies too? Boom, round 2. 2 lies, 2 corpses, 1 very quiet congregation. Moral of the story, God doesn't need your money, he wants your honesty. And if you fake it in front of him, he might just give you the world's most abrupt exit interview. So if people were dropping dead for mild dishonesty, what happens when someone actually deserves it? Like not liking or subscribing? Just kidding. Spoiler, it's gonna get weirder. Meet Ehud, left-handed, low profile, very stabby, serving Prophet meets James Bond energy. Now Israel's being oppressed by King Eglon, who the Bible describes as a very fat man. Like, they don't say powerful or feared. They just go straight to, this man is a human beanbag chair. Eglon's been bullying Israel for 18 years, and God's finally like, okay, send in the sneaky guy with the secret sword and a strong throwing arm. So Ehud pulls up to the palace with a tribute, basically a care package wrapped in fear. He drops it off, starts to leave, then pulls a classic, oh wait, I forgot something. Eglon? Yes? Ehud, a message from God. Eglon, ooh, I love messages. Mistake number 1. The room clears, just like Ehud and the royal beanbag. Ehud leans in, whispers dramatically, and pulls a hidden dagger from his right thigh, because he's left-handed, remember? And stabs Eglon in the gut. But this isn't just any stab. This is next-level biblical gore. The Bible says, the fat closed over the blade, and he did not pull the sword out. Read that again. The belly ate the weapon, swallowed it, digested the steel like a second snack. Ehud just leaves the sword inside the king like, yeah, he can keep it. And on his way out, he locks the door. Smooth exit. The guards come by later like, why's the door locked? He's probably just taking a long dump. Direct quote, they waited to the point of embarrassment. The man was dead, but they thought he was pooping so hard it got awkward. Eventually, they break in and find Eglon very much not pooping. And Ehud, he's miles away, rallying troops and celebrating the messiest divine hit job in biblical history. So, yeah, Ehud stabs a king, loses the sword and belly fat, and escapes because the guards think he's mid-bathroom break. Peak Old Testament. But if you thought that was dramatic, wait till God sends a flaming chariot as a one-man sky exit. Meet Elijah, the man, the myth, the prophet who turned smiting into a full-time gig. This guy has called down fire from heaven, roasted false prophets like marshmallows, and once outran a chariot just because he felt like it. He's basically if Gandalf and John Wick had a desert prophet baby. Now, it's time for Elijah to leave Earth. And God's like, yeah, no, this one's not dying like a peasant. No peaceful passing, no tomb, no eulogy, no awkward post-funeral hummus spread. God's plan? Fire horses, fire chariot, sky exit, let's go. But first, Elijah, accompanied by his disciple Elisha, goes on a weird farewell tour, visiting every prophetic hotspot like it's a retirement pub crawl. Bethel, Jericho, Jordan. At every stop, the local prophets are like, hey, Elisha, did you know your boss is getting taken today? And Elisha's like, yes, Todd, I know. I'm grieving in advance. Please. Meanwhile, Elijah keeps trying to ditch Elisha like a man ghosting his own goodbye party. Elijah, stay here. Elisha, absolutely not. I'm ride or die. Mostly ride. They finally reach the Jordan River. And Elijah, because he can't just cross like a normal guy, casually whips off his cloak, slaps the water, and boom, it parts. No wet socks, just prophet privileges. They walk across dry ground while the rest of us are still trying to untangle earbuds. On the other side, Elijah turns to Elisha and is like, okay, last wish, what do you want? Elisha doesn't hesitate. Double your spirit. Big request, double the fire, double the miracles, double the don't mess with me energy. Elijah's like, okay, but only if you see me go. Translation, keep your eyes peeled for airborne miracles. And then, flaming sky chariot, descent activated. The clouds break, fire horses come galloping out of the heavens like God hit launch sequence. A chariot made of holy fire pulls up like the most aggressive Uber ever summoned. Elijah doesn't die. He doesn't even vanish quietly. He gets scooped into the sky at 1,000 miles an hour, surrounded by celestial horsepower, trailing flames, and awe. Elisha's losing it, screaming, my father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen, which is biblical for what is even happening. And just like that, Elijah's gone. No body, no bones, just one dramatic wardrobe drop as his cloak floats down like the world's holiest merch drop. Elisha catches it, puts it on, and walks away with power upgrade. Now he's the fire guy. And everyone else left staring at the sky like, did he just get raptured in a burning chariot? Yes. Yes, he did. No funerals or closure, just a lot of confusion, some scorched earth, and a trail of melted sandals. Because in the Bible, death isn't always the end. Sometimes it's just weird. And occasionally, it's on fire.